Have you ever wondered how exposed your APIs might be, even when you think your cloud app is locked down? In today's digital landscape, APIs are the backbone of modern applications, but they're also prime targets for attackers seeking vulnerabilities. According to a 2023 Gartner report, API attacks will become the most frequent attack vector for data breaches by 2025, making up nearly 40% of all web application incidents. Consider a fintech startup that launched an open API to power their mobile app. Within weeks, they experienced a surge in malicious traffic, including DDoS attempts and brute force attacks, forcing them to redesign their API security from the ground up. Some might argue, aren't basic authentication and HTTPS enough to secure APIs? While these are important, they fall short against sophisticated threats like injection attacks or credential stuffing, which can slip past simple security checks. Looking ahead, it's clear that robust, multi-layered API protection isn't just a best practice, it's becoming a baseline requirement for any organization operating in the cloud. What makes Azure's approach to API protection unique? And how do its components work in concert to secure your endpoints? Let's break down the architecture that underpins enterprise-grade API deployments. Microsoft's 2022 Azure Security Benchmark shows that organizations using both Application Gateway with Web Application Firewall, WAF, and API Management experience up to 60% fewer successful attacks compared to those with only a single security layer. Take Contoso, a global retailer. They redesigned their infrastructure with Application Gateway at the edge, WAF to block OWASP threats, and API Management to enforce strict policies. This approach not only eliminated direct public access to their internal APIs, but also slashed incident response times. Now, it's reasonable to ask, isn't adding multiple layers just overcomplicating things? In reality, each layer addresses a different risk. WAF filters out common exploits, while API Management governs access and usage together, creating comprehensive protection. As APIs continue to proliferate, architectures that combine perimeter defense with granular policy enforcement will define the new standard for secure, scalable cloud deployments. How does a single API request navigate Azure security layers, and what does this mean for real-world threat prevention? Let's walk through the journey step by step. Recent telemetry from Azure Monitor indicates that over 80% of blocked API threats are intercepted at the WAF or API Management policy layers before ever reaching backend services. For example, when an e-commerce company launched a new product catalog API, they faced aggressive credential stuffing attempts. By routing requests through Application Gateway's WAF and applying rate limiting in API Management, they prevented account takeovers and maintained uptime. But some skeptics ask, doesn't this create latency or bottlenecks for users? Azure's architecture is designed for high throughput, and in most cases, the added security checks introduce only milliseconds of delay, well worth the risk reduction. By orchestrating WAF filtering, policy checks, and private networking, Azure enables organizations to deliver secure, resilient APIs without sacrificing user experience or performance. What tangible benefits do organizations see after implementing Azure's full-stack API protection, and how does this setup empower both security teams and developers? IDC research from 2023 highlights that companies using Azure's API platform report 35% faster incident detection and 50% fewer service outages thanks to integrated monitoring and auto-scaling. Take the case of a healthcare provider. By leveraging Azure Monitor and Defender for APIs, they quickly identified an anomalous spike in requests, traced the source, and mitigated a potential breach, all while scaling resources to meet legitimate demand. One common concern is, won't all these controls slow down innovation or burden developers? On the contrary, Azure's secure developer portal streamlines onboarding, documentation, and test engine enabling rapid, secure API consumption without the usual friction. Ultimately, combining robust security with usability means organizations don't have to choose between protecting data and empowering developers. They can achieve both, setting the stage for secure innovation.